on today's video, we are going to be doing the review on the EAA Girsan Disruptor X. Now, the Disruptor X is made by Girsan. It is imported into the US by EAA. It is a striker-fired handgun. It is chambered in 9mm with a 4.6-inch barrel. Now, I've already done a couple videos on the Disruptor X. We did a full unboxing video. We went over everything in the box. We went over all the specs. That was all covered in that video. In the next video, we took it out for the first shots, just like it would come right out of the box. But today we're going to be doing the full review because we have the Gideon Optics Judge Red Dot on here and the Streamlight TLR7 HLX USB Light. Now, if you did not watch the unboxing video or you don't feel like going back and watching the unboxing video, I'm going to go ahead and roll the specs in on the screen and you can pause it and check it out. Now, when I got to the range, I went ahead and set up my portable shooting table. I set a target up at 10 yards, and we started shooting some 5-shot groups from a bag to take away the operator error. Now, the target was moving around a little bit due to the fact it was a pretty windy day out, but I was able to shoot some pretty decent groups with it at 10 yards. A lot better with the red dot versus in the last video. I did not get very good groups with it shooting with the iron sights. Now, the ammo we're using to shoot these 5-shot groups is my Steel Valley casting reloads. These are a 124 grain. And after we're done shooting these 5-shot groups, we're going to switch over to the CCI 115 grain blazers, and we're also going to be using Freedom Munitions 115 grain today. Let's start talking about the shooting experience with the Disruptor X. Now, I really like how this gun feels in my hand. I felt the same way about the original Disruptor that I reviewed back at the first of the year. You do have the replaceable backstraps, and it's got some decent texturing on it. It's not very aggressive, and it definitely could be a little bit better on the grip. And part of why this gun feels so good in my hand are the magazines themselves. Now, these are 17-round mags, but these actually come with a sleeve or a spacer on them. This is a removable spacer. Now, once you get these down on your base plate, they stay on nice and tight. They're not going to move on you. But this mag is empty. The gun is empty. When I put this in my hand, and I've got pretty large hands, this spacer really helps for me to have a spot to put my pinky finger. And it does not cause an issue dropping the mags. One other nice thing about the spacer on the magazine is they do have texturing here and on this side. So if you have to grab that mag and strip the mag out of the gun, you've got some nice texturing to grab a hold of in case you have to do that. Now, the gun felt very well balanced, especially when I was shooting the USPSA targets, firing 2 shots at each target. The second shot or the follow-up shot, it was very easy to stay right on the A zone. You get very little muzzle flip with this gun. The recoil impulse feels great on this. And all in all, I was pretty happy with the performance transitioning from target to target. Alright, target on the left, we had 2 alpha. We only got 1 hit on steel. I did miss this plate. Next target, we got 3 alpha. And our next target, we've got 4 alpha. We got all 4 hits on steel. And 2 alpha. Alright, we got 2 alpha, both hits on steel, 3 alpha, 4 alpha, all 4 hits on steel, and an Alpha Charlie. Now let's talk about a con when it comes to shooting this gun and how it feels in your hand, and that would have to be the lack of texture up towards the top. Now I do like how they have the area recessed in, but I would like to see some texturing there. And as you can see, all across the top of the frame, there is no texture whatsoever. And one other thing that I would like to see on possibly a next generation of the Disruptor would be to have some sort of thumb ledge with some stippling there, a gas pedal, a memory pad, whatever you want to call it. But that, to me, is kind of a con on this frame. And one other thing I would like to see them do would be to put a little bit of a deeper undercut on the trigger guard. But all in all, the gun feels pretty good in my hand. Now, obviously, it's wintertime and it's cold and I'm not sweating, but I did a lot of filming with the original Disruptor in the summertime when my hands were super sweaty and I was not having any issues holding on to the gun or the gun sliding around in my hand. Now I want to talk about one of my favorite things with this gun, and this is coming from a left-handed shooter's perspective, but this gun is fully ambi. The magazine release on the Disruptor X is reversible, and I do have mine switched over to the right side since I am a left-handed shooter, and I do love the fact that it has an ambi slide stop, slide lock, slide release, whatever you want to call it. So this is a really nice budget option gun for a left-handed shooter. The last thing we're going to talk about on the frame is it does have an accessory rail. Now I have the Streamlight TLR7 HLX USB on here, and it looks really good and it functions very well. Now the accessory rail will accommodate some of the bigger full-size lights, but I think on this gun, you're probably going to want to run a more compact light like this TLR7 HLX or the TLR7 Sub. Quite a few other compact lights out there. Like I said, I can't guarantee you all full-size lights are going to fit on this, but as long as you're going to go with something the size of this TLR7, you should be in pretty good shape. Now, this gun is clear, no mag, nothing in the chamber. Let's talk about the trigger on the Disruptor X, and we've dove into this quite a bit in the last two videos, and we also talked about the trigger in the Disruptor. Now, I actually like this trigger. It is a curved trigger. It does have a trigger safety or dingus on it, but the trigger pull on this is a little bit on the heavy side. You're going to be looking at around 6 to 6.5 pounds. And even after the fact that we've got a little over 500 rounds through this gun now, we're still pulling right at about 6 to 6.25 pounds. Now, once I get the gun to the range and I start shooting it, I really don't notice that heavier trigger pull, but I am going to show you here. You've got a little bit of take up. It's actually pretty smooth. It's even smoothed out a little more now after 500 rounds. But you're going to hit your wall right there, and you've got a really nice clean break. And the reset is very short and audible and tactile. So the trigger feels great. I'm a fan of it, but just keep in mind it does have a little bit of a heavier trigger pull for a striker fired gun. All right, now it's time to start talking about the slide and the barrel on the Disruptor X. Now, the serrations on the Disruptor X are very nice and very usable and a big improvement over the original Disruptor. You've got some serrations on the back, you've got some right in the middle, and you've got some out on the front. Now, you've also got some really nice lightning cuts on the slide. You've got two really big cuts right on the top. You've got 3 on each side right out on the front of the slide, and you have 2 other cuts right on the side of the slide in the middle of the barrel. Now, the Disruptor X is optics ready. It has the RMSC footprint, and you can direct mount any dot that has the RMSC footprint. Now, I have the Gideon Optics Judge on here. This is the red dot version, and it works really well on this gun. Now, if you choose to run this without an optic, your cover plate has your rear sight. They are white dot, And you also have a white dot front sight. Now keep in mind, if you do run an optic, you are going to lose the rear sight. Now this Gideon Optics Judge does not have a built-in backup iron sight on the dot, but there are a lot of RMSC footprint dots out there that do have a backup set of iron sights that you can use with the front sight on the Disruptor X. Now the barrel on this is a 4.6-inch long barrel. It has a tungsten color finish on it to match the frame. The barrel is threaded 1/2 by 28, so you can use a lot of different suppressors and compensators on this if you choose to. Now on the top of the barrel you do have a loaded chamber indicator, and on the back of the slide it does have a striker indicator. And when the gun is ready to fire, the striker indicator will be red, and when you pull the trigger it will go back to black. So let's talk about the overall performance of the Disruptor X. I am really happy with this gun, which is really no surprise because like I said in previous videos, the original Disruptor was one of my favorite guns of 2024. Now we got a little over 500 rounds through it now, and we have not had any issues with any type of ammo that we've run through it. All my reloads, all the factory ammo we've shot, every time we've pulled the trigger, it's gone bang. But we have had 2 feeding issues with this gun, and it's been with factory ammo, and it's all been 115 grain round nose jacketed bullets. And what is happening when I've got a full 17 round mag and I go to load the gun off of the slide release, on 2 separate occasions we've had the bullet just kind of nosedive right into the feed ramp on the barrel. Now if we download the mags to 16 rounds, this has never been an issue, and for the most part with a full 17 round mag it's never an issue. But it did happen once in this video, and it happened in the first shots video. Now we've already talked about all the things I liked about this gun in this video and all the things I don't like in this video, so there's really no reason to dive back into a pros and cons list. But one thing that might be an issue with this gun is holster compatibility. Now I've got the Streamlight TLR1 HL on here now, and I run Works holsters. I have 2 different style Works holsters. This holster is made for my Walther PDP Pro and for the Streamlight TLR1 HL. And as long as I have the Streamlight TLR1 HL on here, it works great with my Works holster. It's all locked in nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. So if you already have a holster for, say, a full-size gun or even maybe a Glock 19 size gun, and it's made for the Streamlight TLR1 HL, there is a good chance that you'll be able to use it with your Disruptor. But keep in mind, and I really haven't got online and looked to see if companies are making holsters for the Disruptor or the Disruptor X, but I'm going to guess that holsters may be an issue trying to find one. So at the end of the day, if you are looking for a reliable, budget-friendly gun, I think you're going to really like the Disruptor X. And if you are a lefty looking for a budget-friendly gun, I think you're going to really like the Disruptor X. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.